Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, Deputy founder Acharya with the whole world Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 16, texts 10 and 11. Please repeat after me. Ekada Ashramataha Rame Ekadashramato Rame Sabhratari Vanam Gate Sabhratari Vanam Gate Vairam Shishada Yishavaha Vairam Shishada Yishavo Labda Chitraha Upagaman Labda Chidra Upagaman Ekadashramato Rame Sabhratari Vanam Gate Vairam Shishata Yishavo Labdha Chidra Upagaman Ekadashramato Rame Sabhratari Vanam Gate Vairam Shishada Yishavo Labdha Chidra Upagaman. Ekada, once upon a time, Ashramataha, from the ashrama of Jamadagni, Rame, when Lord Parshuram, Sabhratari, with his brothers, Vanam, into the forest, Gate, having gone, Vairam, revenge, for past enmity, Shishada Yashavaha, desiring to fulfill, Labda Chitraha, taking the opportunity, Upagaman, they came near the residence of Jamadagni. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Abhayacharana Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. Once when Parashurama left the ashrama for the forest with Vasuman and his other brothers, the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna took the opportunity to approach Jamadagni's residence to seek vengeance for their grudge. Can you repeat the translation? Once, when Parashurama left the ashrama for the forest with Vasuman and his other brothers, the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna took the opportunity to approach Jamadagni's residence to seek vengeance for their grudge. Text 11. दृष्ट्वा ज्ञागार आसीनम् आवेशितधियं मुनिं भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके जग्नुस्ते पापनिश्चयाः. Translation. The sons of Kartavirya Arjuna were determined to commit sinful deeds. Therefore, when they saw Jamadagni sitting by the side of the fire to perform yajna and meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised by the best of selected prayers, they took the opportunity to kill him. That ends the Bhaktivedanta translations to Canto 9, Chapter 16, texts 10 and 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnana-Thimirandhasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyabhati Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ekada, once upon a time, Rame Ashramata Vanam Gate, when Parashurama left the ashram of his father, Ekada Ashramate Rame, Vanam Gate went to forest, Sabhratari, along with his brothers, Vasuman and other brothers, when he went to the forest along with his brothers, that time what happened? Vairam Sishada Yishavo. The sons of Kartavirya Arjuna were burning with vengeance towards Jamadagni. So they why? Because Kartavirya Arjuna was killed. Therefore, the sons had a lot of grudge. That is, their father had been killed. Therefore, they want to take grudge on Parashurama by killing his father. So, Vairam, cultivating this grudge in his heart, Shishada Yishavo, they desired to kill his father, Labdva Chidra Upagaman. Upagaman, they came to the residence of Jamadagni, Labdva Chidra, with the uh, desire to kill him, taking this opportunity that Parashurama is not there at home. Te Papa Nishchayaha, they referring to the sons of Karthikeya Arjuna. Nishchaya, they were very determined, Papa, to kill this greatly sinful act. Drishtva, they saw Munim, Jamadagni, referring to the sage Jamadagni, Parashurama's father. So Drishtva Munim, seeing Jamadagni, Asinam, being seated in his ashrama, next to the Agni fire sacrifice. Agni Agara Asinam, he was seated next to the Homakunda, next to the place where the fire sacrifice is about to happen. And they also observed Aveshita Dhya. His mind was completely absorbed in something. What was that? Bhagavati. His mind was completely absorbed on the thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uttama Shloke, who is glorified by the best of the words and by the best of the poetry. So the Supreme Lord, who is praised by the best of the poetry, best of the words in all the Vedic literatures, that was the object of meditation of Jamadagni. Aveshita Dhyam, he was completely absorbed in it. And seeing him in this condition, in this situation, they thought this is the right time to kill him. Jagnuhu. So they took the opportunity to kill him. Papa Nishchaya, and they were greatly determined to do this sinful act. So we can see how when there is a pushing, it is called Vega, Manasa Vega. When there is a force of the mind or the heart pushing you to do something, it is very difficult to stop the force of the mind. Rupa Goswami says that one who can conquer 6 forces in his life, he can actually become a spiritual master and accept disciples or make disciples across the world. So what are the 6 forces? He says, Vacho Vegam, the force of speech. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Vegam, the force of the mind. Krodha Vegam, the force of anger. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. Jihva Vegam, the force of the tongue. Udara Vegam, the force of the belly. And Upastha Vegam, the force of the genitals. Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Diraha. If one is able to control these forces, he is called a Dhira, or a sober man. Sarvam apimam prithvim sasishya. Then he can accept disciples or make disciples. Prithvim sasishya. Across the globe, he can accept disciples. So Vacho Vegam, the urge to force, we can also, Prabhupada also explains it as the urge. There's a certain urge to speak. We all want to speak. There's a lot of urge to speak. But what is the content of that speech? What is the purpose of the speech? What is the intent of that speech? What is the goal of speaking? Why do you want to speak? Is it beneficial for others? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes in the 17th chapter about the quality of speech. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat svadhyayapyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. So that Krishna describes. Anudvegakaram vakyam. What is the quality of speech? What should be the purpose of one's speaking? Krishna says, Anudvega. The words must not be, your speech must not be agitating others. Anudvega. Udvega means something which is agitating. Anudvega means that which is not agitating. So Anudvega karam vakyam. That which is not agitating. So your speech should not agitate others' minds, disturb others' mind. Karam vakyam. Then satyam. Your words must be truthful, not hypocritic or not duplicitous. It should be truthful. Satyam. Should not speak lies. Should not be misleading information. Today we see most of the news, what we get across the world, most of the conversations is simply misleading, simply a false presentation of the truth. Mostly, for most person. You can judge the person by the quality of his speech. Satyam, Priyam, it should be pleasing. Your words or your speech must be pleasing to the other person, to the listener, to the hearer, to the audience. It must be pleasing. Satyam, Priyam, Hitam, it must be beneficial. Not that simply you keep on chatting and talking, and whether it is beneficial to the other person or not, whether it is useful to the other person or not. Sometimes people begin to chat or talk. They're not concerned with the other person, whether he has time or not, whether he's interested to hear or not, or whether is it really beneficial for him. They're not bothered. They just want to talk, they keep talking. Want to chat, keep chatting. So hitam, if you want to speak, you should consider, is it going to benefit the other person? Let me talk. Otherwise, let me withdraw. Why should I talk? Then swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate is the austerity in speaking, in talking, in speech. Tapaha. Vakmayam. Swadhyaya abhyasanam. What is the practical method? So lastly, Krishna suggests, this is the fifth item, Krishna is suggesting, Vanmayam. Swadhyaya abhyasanam. One should regularly recite Vedic literatures. So you memorize the whole Bhagavad Gita, including translation, purport, sentence by sentence, and you keep delivering that. Reproduce the book verbally. Vakmayam tapa uchyate. If you begin speaking, if you're blessed with good memory, then you can reproduce the translation purport. Don't have good memory still, there is no loss. You can have Prabhupada's book in your hand and read out the translation purport. Just keep reading. I remember one devotee, very old devotee, is Prabhupada's disciple. Of course, we're also Prabhupada's disciple. We are second generation disciples. I mean to say first generation disciple. There's a terminology which you should note. First generation disciple and second generation disciple. That is okay. So we may be called second generation disciples, but then we're also Prabhupada's disciples. Prabhupada's first generation disciples, when Prabhupada manifested his, when Prabhupada exhibited his manifest Leela, is another term you should note. Exhibited his manifest Leela. Now Prabhupada's unmanifest Leela is going on. Prakata Leela and Aprakata Leela. both are the same from the absolute sense. Spiritually, both are same. Whether the Acharya is physically present or not present, his Leela is continuing. His blessings are still there for everyone to receive. It's a transcendental variety that Acharya is present in front of us, called Prakata Leela, is not present in front of us, called Aprakata Leela. Actually, you can see even now Prakati Leela is going on. So long the murtis in the ISKCON temples and in the many millions of homes which are installed is present on the earth. Prabhupada's Prakati Leela also is going on. So there was one very well-known devotee, disciple of Prabhupada. His Bhagavatam class is something interesting. He reads the words, word to word meaning, translation, purport. After that, his lecture would be, he'll go to the next verse, read translation, purport. Next verse, translation, purport. Next verse, translation, purport. Any clarification he would ask for, otherwise he would continue. Whole Bhagavatam class is this. Grantharat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Or class is over. So that was his style. Simply read Prabhupada's translation purports. Who can better explain than Prabhupada? Leave. Then this question may come, then why are we elaborating it? Prabhupada also said that I want my disciples to read my books, understand them nicely, thoroughly, and explain them in their own words. What I have explained. Explain them in their own words if they so wish. So Prabhupada has also ordered his disciples to read, understand, and explain their own words. And therefore, we are trying to explain following the order of Prabhupada. But it should be in line with what the Acharya has spoken, not create any new idea that is against the Parampara spirit. So, Swadhyayapyasanam Chaiva, one should practice reciting Vedic literatures regularly. This is an austerity for the tongue, for the words. So memorize Gita verses, memorize translations and purpose. Apart from that, one should also try to practice them in one's life as much possible. Otherwise, it may also become paraclete chanting. So that is not very desirable. One should also try to practice. Even if one fails, it doesn't matter, but one should attempt to practice what one reads or hears from Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita. So coming back to the verse. So vacho vegam. So this is the way we control our speech, our urge to talk in these 5 ways. The manasa vegam. Manaprasada somyatmam maunamatma mirigraha bhava samshuddhirityeta tapo manasa muchyate. Krishna describes again in the 17th chapter. Simplicity. Simplicity. That means not being duplicitous in one's dealings. Being straightforward in one's dealings. Then, I'll read the exact translation, what Prabhupada has given. Mana prasadaha, satisfaction of the mind, not being dissatisfied or discontented. As today we see the modern civilization, people are always dissatisfied, discontented. How much ever they have or not have, it's not the criteria here. That's why they are trapped by Maya. And it's not easy to detect all these things. It requires detective intelligence, detective spiritual intelligence. how we are trapped by Maya. Even though we have enough, still there is dissatisfaction in the mind. It's not that I don't have something and therefore I'm dissatisfied. The people having everything also are dissatisfied. That's the nature of the material mind. It is always demanding. The nature of material mind is always one of demanding. There's no end to the material needs. So mana prasadaha. Therefore, austerity for the mind is to learn to become satisfied, remain satisfied with whatever we have. Yadritsa lava santushtaha. We should learn, cultivate the habit of being satisfied. Whatever Krishna has given, this is Krishna's prasada. I have a small cottage, that is Krishna's prasada. I have a palace, it's Krishna's prasada. Not be dissatisfied. I don't have. He has got, my brother has got, my friend has got. Let him have. Krishna has blessed him. I don't have. If Krishna wants, he'll bless you tomorrow. Krishna does not want you to have. Be happy. Chant Hare Krishna. Krishna wants you to be happy in some other way, not in this way. Happiness has nothing to do with a specific route or channel. It can be achieved only spiritually, not by material arrangements. So this basic truth one should understand. Otherwise, one will always be disturbed for any reason. There are million reasons to be dissatisfied, and they will present themselves one after the other. Today it may be money, tomorrow it may be something else, it may be recognition, it may be a social status, it may be a position, it may be a job, it may be a relationship, it may be this. There's no end. Sky is the limit. There are a million reasons for being dissatisfied. So if you don't learn to be satisfied, you will ever remain a dissatisfied soul. So mana prasadaha, austerity for the mind is to be satisfied. Samyatma means being straightforward in one's dealings, not being duplicitous. That means acting as something in front of somebody, but actually you mean something else. That's called duplicitous behavior or duplicitous nature. Devotee is very simple. Inside, outside, he is straightforward. Maunam, but that doesn't give the license to speak anything, share, tell anything right on the face of somebody. Therefore, maunam, gravity. That means being very grave. That means being very thoughtful in one's words, in one's dealings, in one's relationship, in one's behavior. There must be gravity. You can see that perfectly portrayed in Prabhupada's life. If you study Prabhupada, you will see Prabhupada was quite grave. You don't see any loose behavior or loose talks by Prabhupada. Of course, that's the obvious quality of the Acharya. But Krishna expects that all of us also practice these qualities. Maunam. Maunam does not mean silence. See, Prabhupada translates Maunam as gravity. So Maunam is not silence. Maunam means your words are measured and spoken. Your speech is measured and communicated. That's called gravity. And the quality of that is already being explained. It must be beneficial, it must be pleasing, it should not be agitating others. And it should be endorsed, backed up by Vedic quotations every now and then. So Swadhyayabhasanam also means not just reciting Vedic scriptures. Your talk, your speech must be backed up by Vedic references. Then there will be no more loose talk. Because there is no scope of loose talk in Vedic literature.
There's no such presentation in entire spectrum of Vedas. No loose talk is there. Very, very concentrated, serious subject matter, grave subject matter. So if you have to quote back up every now and then your speech, your talk, your conversation with Vedas, where is the scope for loose talk? Where the scope for Gramya Katha? There is no scope for Gramya Katha. So, Maunam, gravity. Atma Virigraha, mind control. Samshuddhihi, purification of purity of thought. Samshuddhihi. There must be uh, purity in your thinking process, in your analytical uh, uh, procedures. Just like we plan, we think, we plan so many things, isn't it? Nobody knows what I am planning. I may come and talk something to you, but what I plan, what is in my mind, nobody knows. And you may think I have managed the situation very nicely. That might be there. But if you want to consider what Krishna is saying here, samshuddhi, so purity of thought. What is your planning process? What is your thought process? What are you thinking in mind? That is more important. Of course, words are also important. So these things all has to be properly balanced. Sometimes people say, arguments say, Prabhu, I am very clean in my mind. Okay, my words may not be okay. That's okay. My mind is very clean. My heart is very clean. And then go on with the argument. Isn't it? Sometimes we see the escape route they take to justify their behavior. No, that is also not accepted. Both way, in the mind and in the speech and in behavior. One must be pure. So these are austerities of the mind. One clarification Prabhupada makes in the purport to the austerity for speech, which I would also like to highlight. Uh, although here it is mentioned Priyam and Anudvega Karam Vakyam, one should speak things which are not agitating and one should speak things which are pleasing. One may say that the Vedic instructions are all displeasing and they're quite agitating. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you read Bhagavatam, they're not in line with our with the normal life of a person, of a materialistic person. So these words are quite agitating for them. When devotees preach, it is quite agitating for a materialistic person. When devotees speak or preach, it is quite displeasing. So they'll get up and go away. Class is not interesting. Book is not interesting. Bhagavatam is not interesting. Your words are not pleasing. So what does this mean? Then for that matter, we say Krishna says Sarva Dharman Parityajya. It's very displeasing. Krishna says, surrender unto me utterly. So these are all not very pleasing words. If you do sinful activity, you will be cast into hellish life, life after life. So these are statements in the Vedas. You don't follow my path, then you will be lost to yourself. You will not achieve any perfection. Oh, you are cursing me? So these statements are there in the Vedic literatures. Neither happiness nor perfection can be attained in this life or in the next. Then what does this indicate? So that's why there are two aspects. Prabhupada explains in one place. Chanakya Pandit says, in this Chanakya Pandit says, uh, if things are pleasing, If the truth is pleasing, then you must speak. You can share. But if the truth is not pleasing to the hearer, then don't have to speak the truth. Ma bruyat satyam apriyam. Ma bruyat satyam apriyam. If satya is apriya, if the truth is not pleasing, ma bruyat, then don't speak. So only if it is pleasing, you speak. So Prabhupada clarifies, this may be accepted in the social circle, but not in the spiritual circle. When the spiritual master has to instruct and help his disciple progress in spiritual life, he has to speak the truth, even if it is displeasing to his disciple, because it is for his benefit, for his eternal benefit. It is to awaken his disciple to the spiritual uh, status. So he has to speak the truth. He cannot go by trying to satisfy the disciple's need and speak the way what disciple expects him to speak. This is what happens socially, in the social world. Speak whatever is pleasing to others. But that's not the standard being practiced by the acharyas. It has to be beneficial for this. It has to elevate him spiritually. So that consideration is there. Today it may look little difficult, but then eventually we'll realize that this is very good, what my spiritual master told. So here we see that the sons of Kartivir Arjuna, they were very agitated, very agitated. And they saw the right opportunity when the Muni was in a uh, apparently disadvantaged situation, because his eyes was closed, he was in deep meditation. That's the right time. Now I have an advantage, let me kill him. This is what all people, we all, people, normal people in this world always want to see the weak situation of the other person. This shows the behavior, this shows the quality of the other person. When somebody is in a weak situation, instead of helping and supporting, you try to exploit the situation. That's what happens in the world. That's what is the summoned substance of material life. But that's not devotee's life. So, uh, devotee's life is one of sacrifice, one of uh, support, and one of taking risk to save the jivas. And Prabhupada is the epitome of these transcendental qualities. How much risk he took to save the people, taking risk of his health, risk of his life, so many things. Once, I think this was in Spain. There was one devotee describing about a man who has parked his car in a parking lot, and there was a driver seated in the car, and it was not the driver, it's the owner himself. So one devotee was distributing books in Spain, and he had one of Prabhupada's books, The Science of Self-Realization. And then he showed him this book of Prabhupada. And as he was showing the book to this person in the car, he observed that on the back seat there was a large knife and some whiskey bottles and some illegal drugs. His back seat. Anyway, so he didn't give much attention to that. So he showed the book, and then after half an hour, he returned back. To see what this man will do. This man said, "My dear sir, I want to talk to you urgently." He said, "What?" "It's a life and death situation." Then he started telling his story. He said, "Just when you came to me, I was about to get out of my car and pick up this large knife, and I was about to murder somebody because that person owed me my money and is not at all returning after many multiple attempts. So about to go and kill him. And I had kept this whiskey bottle because normally I'm not a murderer, but I want to develop the courage to kill. So I want to get intoxicated so that I get the courage to kill him." Just then, you showed me this book, and there was the picture of, I don't know who this person is. One person was there in the back of this book whom you showed. That was Prabhupada's picture. So I saw this person's picture, and then I was about to kill, but I thought, anyway, you told me also to chant Hare Krishna. You sang a nice song. For them, Hare Krishna is a song. They don't know that it's a spiritual mantra and all. So you sang a nice Hare Krishna song. So I chanted the Hare Krishna song and saw this person, and I totally forgot about money and the murder. So I just came to thank you. You saved my life. You just imagine. So, so the science of self-realization has done its job. There was one more very striking uh, instance. There was one devotee by name Govinda Das. He was distributing books of Prabhupada door to door in the CIS. One old woman, he approached one old woman's house, knocked upon the door, and said, "Mother, I would like to show you some book." She said, "Oh, I'm not interested. I won't read them." Said, "Mother, it's a very nice book. Why don't you have a look?" "That may be nice, but I don't want to read. At least hold this book for some time and look at them." "No, no, 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 I'm not interested in anything. Please move away." Since the time I had read one small book, I don't remember the author's name. I have lost interest in reading any other book in the world. And I decided not to read any other book other than this author. Therefore, please don't waste your time. Please move out. Then the devotee Govindadas said, "But mother, what if my books are better than your book?" "Oh, that is not at all possible. It is impossible." "I don't think so." Then this devotee asked, "Can you show me that book? I want to see the author." Then she pulled out her book from a big book rack. The Westerners generally, they're avid readers. They read a lot of books. So at one point, but that entire book rack was empty. There was only one book for the entire big book rack. You could have placed about 50, 60 books in the rack. There was only one book. So it looked like earlier the entire book rack was filled with books. But now it gave space only for one book. So a small book it was. So that old woman brought that book and then she gave it to the devotee. So then the devotee saw and he read the title, "Oh, Easy Journey to Other Planets by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada." So she didn't knew the author. So she said, "Mother, this is the same author's books." "Oh, really?" And she purchased 5 books. So this is another very powerful incident which happened in Germany. Once the devotees in Germany, they set out for distributing Prabhupada's books, and they were trying to distribute Prabhupada's books in front of a post office in Germany. So one of the devotees approached a businessman who was just getting out of the post office, getting out of the car near the post office. Looked like he was in his mid-50s, and he was serious about his business, was rushing towards his destination to meet somebody, probably. Then when the devotee approached him, he said, "Oh, get out! You're all cheaters. You're all bogus guys. Get away from here." So I don't want to get involved in all these things. You are a bunch of hypocrites. It's all bogus. Get out. Get away from here. Then the devotee said, "What are you talking? What are you talking about? This is Bhagavad Gita, ancient philosophy from India." Yes, yes, I'm referring India only. I'm referring India only. I know all these yogis and munis and sadhus and babas, all bogus guys, cheaters. Okay, tell me, who's the guru of your organization? By the by, tell me who's your guru? Then the devotee turned the other side of the book of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's small picture is there. So this is our guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. He replied. So, "Oh, Swami Prabhupada. Sorry, I take back my words. I take back my words." So really? You know him? "Oh, yes. I know this Swami quite well. I have read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. But the first connection with me, with this Swami Prabhupada, was reading his book, Life Comes from Life. He defeats them all." This is the phrase he used. Prabhupada defeats them all. Because he said, this Swami, right on the face, he tells the truth. Right on the face of the philosophers, scientists, religionists, he does not care, does not compromise. He just speaks the truth and nothing else. Is it? So, so like that, you see one person about to murder, and here you see, if the sons of Kartivirajana would have got Prabhupada's books, probably they would have changed their mind. I'm telling seriously. Actually, there are many stories. Today night, I will share some more stories because now it is short of time. So it's quite serious. How it changes a person's life, you really don't know. You really don't know. It's quite serious. In split moment, they change their decisions. That much potency Prabhupada's books has got. One moment it is changing their life. So that's why in this entire month, devotees take actually um it is not very satisfying, but still, all through the year we should be doing book distribution, not just 1 month. This 1 month program was introduced by the devotees in the Western world because of Christmas. Christmas is a great month in the Western world, and people are all in the mood of buying and moving around everywhere. So it's not that the devotees in the West distribute books only in December month. All through the year, their only engagement is book distribution, by the way. But there are other temple services, they give little priority in the December month. So all through the year, they distribute Prabhupada's books. In India, at least 1-2 months we should do. Otherwise, it is very embarrassing. Actually, also today we should do. It is a life-saving tonic. It has changed all of you people sitting here. There's a matter of gratitude. Therefore, if you feel grateful to Prabhupada, if you feel grateful, you should distribute Prabhupada's books. Oh, Prabhupada, I'm not a distributor. Even I'm not a distributor. What you should do. If you feel grateful to Prabhupada, if you want to show your gratefulness to Prabhupada, show your gratitude to Prabhupada, we must distribute Prabhupada's books. It has saved our life. So the Prabhupada and Krishna will sell his book. You have to be a postman, that's all. Just like if I write a book, I only go city to city and market, right? Talk about my book. So Krishna will talk about his book. Prabhupada will talk about his book. You just got to take the book to the person. That's all. That much work you should do. Because the major argument would come about is, I'm not distributor. I don't know what you speak. I don't know anything. Then you read the book yourself first. You first take a Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's other books, and you start reading. Then you may say, I may read Prabhu, but I am not very good at speaking and convincing people. Don't worry. The author will speak for himself. Prabhupada says that. The book will speak for itself. You just present it. But they will also not read the book. Let them touch the book. Let them look at the book. It will do its job. So Prabhupada says, I want that all of you, my students, shall very vigorously try this book distribution. So we have kept it for 2 months, 1/6 of the commitment in a year. 12 months are there, only 2 months we are keeping. If you want to increase your commitment, you can do all 12 months. The most pleasing service to Prabhupada. In fact, many of the ISKCON people will say a famous quote. Here we have not put actually. If you really want to distribute, if you really want to please me, then distribute my books. Prabhupada made this statement. If you really want to please me, we all say, Prabhu, tell me how to please Prabhupada, how to please Prabhupada. Distribute his book. Take it seriously. When one book sold, you will please Prabhupada. You please Prabhupada means you are pleasing Krishna. You attempt. The book will sell by itself. Don't worry. Miracles will happen. There's some appreciation from Dr. Samuel. See, all over the world, the Christians, Muslims, Jains, Buddhists, Parsis, cutting across all religions, they've all become devotees reading Prabhupada's book. You see, such elite people in the world also regard Prabhupada's book a lot. See, professor of Sanskrit, Princeton University, he is saying, I am most impressed with A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's scholarly and authoritative edition of Bhagavad Gita. It is most valuable work for the scholar as well as the layman. This is the feature of Prabhupada's book. It is appealing to a scholar and even to a common man. And is of great utility as a reference book as well as a textbook. I promptly recommend this edition. It is a beautifully done book. Then Dr. Thomas. See, Indians may not reading. We don't have interest. See, these Christians, how seriously they take Prabhupada's book. Just change their life. There is little question that this edition is one of the best books available on the Gita and devotion. Prabhupada's translation is an ideal blend of literal accuracy and religious insight. He's a professor of religion from Franklin and Marshall College. This is a well-known Dr. Seshagiri Rao from Karnataka, but he had done his doctorate in religious studies from University of Virginia. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the present spiritual master of the movement in disciplic succession, has done a great service to the English-speaking world by making this spiritual treasure available in English. Some few quotes by Prabhupada about his own books. What are these books? I will explain today evening. But these are Prabhupada's own words. In this modern godless civilization, Everyone is greatly suffering due to lack of real knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And our task is very great and very important. You may think, oh, ISKCON people will do. Prabhupada wants each one of you sitting here also to do a very great and important work to your friend, your sister, your brother, your neighbor, your father, your mother, your husband, your wife, your community, your caste. If you think that you are belong to certain caste, certain community, certain religion, you have a great important work to your community, to your caste, to your brother, to your sister. What is that? Our task is very great and important. We must deliver this pure science of God to everyone and give them the chance to make their life successful. See, you have to distribute Prabhupada's books. Then in a correspondence in 1975, February 2nd in Honolulu, Prabhupada has written to a devotee in Honolulu. Book distribution is solid. Even if they do not read, even if they do not read, most of us sitting here, or most of the Indians, even if they do not read, simply by touching, they are benefited. It is so much power. That's why you used to go distribution. You say, sometimes we go to sell the book and then we try to show them the pages. So we want to show them to read the translation and shloka and the details of that. They would want to touch it. Okay, Swamiji, you can take touching over. Because even touching is highly sanctified. Tomorrow they'll come and buy the book. If there's a 2-day jatre, today they will touch, tomorrow they'll come and buy. 100%. I have done a lot of book distribution in my younger days. This is my personal experience. In Mysore also we have done a lot of book distribution. In lecture Prabhupada is saying 1974, please distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. 3 times Prabhupada is pleading. Beyond that, if Prabhupada has to say and we will not do, then there is nothing. Prabhupada can't plead more than 3 times to us. Please distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. A greater mridanga. We are chanting, playing a mridanga in the temple hall. Only some 100 people are hearing. It is heard within this room a little more. But this mridanga, Prabhupada is referring to the books, also as mridanga, vibration, creates a spiritual vibration to your heart, awakens the soul's original Krishna conscious vibration. It is heard. This mridanga will go home to home, country to country, community to community. This mridanga, Prabhupada is referring to this mridanga as his books. So the mridanga players must know there's a bigger mridanga. We all should distribute Prabhupada's books. This mridanga everybody can play. That mridanga only few can play. But this mridanga everybody can play by distributing Prabhupada's books. You just stand, it will go by itself. If he reads one shloka, his life will become successful. One shloka, one word. Krishna said quarter shloka. Yesterday I quoted that story. But Prabhupada is saying one word in the Gita is also enough. Prabhupada is given further discount. Seeing Kali Yuga's people's position. One word if people read from the Bhagavad Gita or Prabhupada's books, life will change. Such nice things. Therefore, we are stressing so much. Please distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. Somehow or other, if the book goes in one hand, he will be benefited. At least he will see, oh, they have taken so much price. Let me see what is there. That's why we don't give books free. They should pay. Because if they pay, they will value. Oh, that Swamiji came and took off so much money from me. Let me see what is in this book. And if he reads, he will change his life. Yes, try to encourage book distribution as much as possible. Books are the basis of our movement. Then Prabhupada goes on to say, another important reference for devotees who are beginners particularly, sometimes there is encouragement by giving you rewards and awards and all these kind of things and perks and incentives, which happens in the outside world for marketing managers and marketing sales head and marketing executives. Uh, if you sell 5 motorbikes, then you'll get a trip to go. If you sell 50 motorbikes, you'll get a trip to Goa free. All these kind of things. You'll get a, recently somebody had, if you achieve this target, you will go to Dubai. All those kind of things are there. Sometimes even devotees are promised, if you do this many books, you will get a plate of Mahaprasadam. You will get today morning Balya Bhog, today morning sweet rice. Earlier, when I used to go to the temple as a student in Bangalore to the Hare Krishna hill, that meat was a small shed, not so attractive. Typical to this. No false ceiling. Ditto, same like this. No attraction. So the devotees there at that time, they would say, so if you come for Mangalarti, I'll give you sweet rice. So then, of course, they would actually do sincerely. So we would go for Mangalarti. After the Mangalarti, there'll be a queue. We'll all stand and 1 spoon of sweet rice. Prabhu, second spoon, hey, with the spoon only you do. No, move. Next spoon, next day only. So there are so many waiting. So like that, you get a spoon of sweet rice. That was an incentive because we neophytes. No sweet rice, no Mangalarti. So we were for that sweet rice. So like that, sometimes this inducement is there for a neophyte devotee. But Prabhupada says high class, high quality devotional service means you should know the seva opportunity itself is a reward for you. Why are you expecting another award or reward? Oh, Prabhu, give me sweet rice. Earlier, Prabhu was giving me so many things. Nowadays, Prabhu is not giving me anything. Earlier, Prabhu was talking with me so much. Nowadays, Prabhu is not giving so much attention to me. That is a neophyte, understand. The very opportunity to serve Krishna itself is the reward. What else you want? The highest service in the universe. Even devatas don't have opportunity. Furthermore, you are becoming the spokesperson for Krishna's Gita. What else you want? And you are being selected to hand over Krishna's Gita. What else you want? Suppose if you are to hand over, suppose the Bhagavad Gita to the Prime Minister, you feel so privileged. So you should know that we have been personally selected. Itself is a great blessing for this service. So the service itself is a reward. But still, we are yet to come to this level. So therefore, we also have milestones and awards, because sometimes in the initial stage, the psychology says that there must be a target and a milestone for us to work, for the brain to start functioning. Otherwise, our brains don't work. Especially a normal man or a neophyte devotee, their brains don't work unless there is a incentive or there is a target, there's a milestone, there's a sometimes pushing. So therefore, of course, nothing wrong. So therefore, we also have these things as a encouragement for all the devotees. But at least at heart, you should desire to come to that level of pure devotional service without expectation of anything from Krishna other than the opportunity to serve Krishna, which itself is the highest reward. So, the first milestone is 25,000 points. Second milestone, 50,000 points. Third milestone, 75,000 points. Fourth milestone, 1 lakh points. And based on these points are called Lakshmi points, which our devotees will later on explain how is it converted. There's a conversion factor. So based on the maximum Lakshmi points achieved by the teams, So there'll be 3 prizes: first, second, and third, and also consolation prize. So today we are officially inaugurating this Srila Prabhupada's book distribution marathon for a 2-month long period from today to January 29. Srila Prabhupada Brihat Mridanga ki jai. So we will issue the books from today onwards for the devotees to take on credit, and the last day for settling accounts, meaning because you're taking by credit, you have to sell, and whatever money you get, maybe once a week you can come and keep paying back the cash here, and you can take more books and again come and pay back at the end of the week. Like that you can go on for 2 months. And last date of issuing the books is January 29. Last day of settling the accounts, meaning you return back all the books, whatever is sold or not sold, on February 5th. And we'll have the marathon closing ceremony and a special prize distribution for the winners on February 19th, this is Sunday, 2023. Nonetheless, as I said, the very opportunity for book distribution is a prize for you. Opportunity for working for Krishna itself is a prize for you. You're working for Karmi boss. What glory is there? Now you work for the glorious boss on his behalf with great spiritual pride. Carry the books of Lord Krishna, the most valuable book in the universe. It's a quest of spiritual pride. So you will feel very elated and highly blessed. You will see your devotion increase multifold. Take part in book distribution. So kindly help Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON by distributing Prabhupada's books. So you can go in a team. So then you learn from others. Even if you are hesitant to go alone, you can go in the team. We have many teams. You can go with them. Then you will overcome that hesitation and all these things. So you can register your name for being a participant in the book distribution and get reward from Krishna and Prabhupada. So you can give your names in the counter outside.